Alright, I hope y'all have had a good day so far. For your table of contents, today it's absolute value and integers. We're going to start with just being on one page, but it is going to take more than that. Don't forget that your pages aren't going to match mine exactly. And also, don't forget that you can pause this at any moment, okay? Because I am going to get ahead. You're going to have some copying to do first, and then we're going to talk about it. So first off, on the page of absolute value, I want you to get this written. Pause it right now, get that written, and then we're going to talk about adding integers. So you can pause this right now as well and get that written. Try to keep it as neat as you can. Don't answer the questions yet because we really want to talk about them instead of just copying down notes and answering them on your own. So let's first talk about absolute value. Absolute value is, I don't really like the bubble on top that always says it's positive, but it always appears positive. Absolute value is the distance from zero on a number line. And the symbol for absolute value is just these two little bars right here. That's the symbol. So anything that is in there is just asking you how far it is. It's not asking you what direction. Okay? Absolute value is almost so simple it's actually difficult. It's such a basic concept. It's almost too easy for our brains to comprehend, which is kind of funny. But I want you to think about this. If this right here is Waco, and down here is Austin, and North Belton is about right there. Okay, we can drive to Waco, so that's to the north. Waco is to the north. We could also drive from North Belton to Austin, and Austin is south. If I asked you which one's going to take longer to get to from North Belton, what would you say? Most of you would say Austin, because most of y'all have probably been there, and most of y'all have probably been to Waco. And Austin is south, and south is a negative type number. So let's say Austin is a negative 65 miles from North Belton. And Waco is north, and north is a positive type number. So let's say that Waco is a positive 35 miles. So if we were to compare the two, and I asked you which one was farther, you wouldn't say Waco because it's a positive 35 miles. Instead, you would say that it's Austin because it's 65 miles away. Okay, Waco is about 30 minutes, and Austin is about an hour. So we use absolute value all the time when we talk about distance and time. Absolute value works the same way. Okay, so if we look at this, and I'm gonna do another example. And if we look at this right here, the absolute value of 4. So the question is, how far is 4 from 0? And if we did it like to Waco or to Austin, we would go from 0, let's just say this is North Belton. We would go 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I ask, well, how far is it from North Belton? Let's call that Waco. You would say it's 4. You wouldn't say it's positive 4. You wouldn't say it's, you just say 4. Okay, that's what those lines mean. That's what that symbol means on the outside. It means how far is it, not what direction. The direction doesn't matter in absolute value. It's just how far it is. Okay? So if we look at the next one, it is these lines right here are asking what is the absolute value of -4. Okay, remember negative is a number that we would associate with the word south because south means down. So if we had 0, and -1, -2, -3, -4, and let's call that Austin. And let's call 0 North Belton. So if I asked you how far it was, you wouldn't say it's -4 to Austin. Instead, you would say it's 4. It's 4 to get to Austin. And that'd be exactly right. That's what that symbol means. It's very important to understand that symbol. Okay, an absolute value can help you a lot whenever we start adding and subtracting integers, like negative type numbers. Okay, so same thing here. What is the absolute value of -2.5? That's what these bars are asking. Okay, the only thing that matters is what's inside the bars. Okay, so how far is -2.5? What's the absolute value of -2.5? How far is it from 0? It's just 2.5. Okay, direction doesn't matter, only how far it is to get there. There are some things that might confuse you that you are going to see. Like, go ahead and write this example. Negative absolute value of 4. The negative absolute value of 4, not the absolute value of -4, because the negative is not inside of the sign. Okay? It only matters what's inside. So let's just look at this right here first. Okay? What is the absolute value of 4? It's 4. But then we got this guy that's on the outside. Okay, and we have to use that. So that negative stays. Okay? The absolute value is only what's inside of there, not what's on the outside. Alright, so let's try something here. Let's do a little problem with absolute value. The absolute value of -6 plus the absolute value of 4. So we're going to add those together. You have to do some work first. What is the absolute value of -6? How far is -6 from 0? It's 6 away. How far is the absolute value of 4 from 0? It's 4 away. So you do 6 plus 4, and that's 10. Okay? So don't let that confuse you, because we do this all the time. So if we go back over here to the Waco and Austin story and North Belton, I want you to think about this. Let's say we went to Austin. Let's all get on a bus. We'll go to Austin. We'll hang out at the river or something. Let's say we went to Austin. And then at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, all of y'all want to go to Waco and go to Baylor Stadium or whatever's fun up in Waco. So we would actually drive from Austin to Waco. So how far is it from Austin to Waco? We would have to find the absolute value of -65 and +35, and we would combine them. So the question is, how far is it for that whole distance? Well, we know it's 65 miles from North Belton to Austin, and it's 35 miles from North Belton to Waco. So if we were to combine those to find out the total distance from Waco to Austin, just add them up. And it's 100 miles. That is exactly like this problem right here. Okay? Even though it's negatives and positives, it doesn't matter. Whenever we're doing absolute value, it's just how far. Okay? Absolute value will help us with adding integers, which is what we're going to do next.